Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who passed away in our community, especially Tom Murphy, Michael Lotney, Edward Trentley, William Tierney, Eileen Bowen, Joseph John O'Malley Jr., and Bill Kanger. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Present.
Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild? Here. Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Smurl?
Here. This evening, Mr. Voldenberg is out, and our Assistant City Clerk, Kathy Carrera, will be taking his place this evening. And it's beginning the first of the year and our first meeting, and we will go over some of the council rules, and then we will proceed after that. Attorney Gilbride, will you begin with a refresher?
Thank you, Mr. President. As most people here know, under citizen participation, which is fourth order in our lineup, that's the opportunity for the public to come to the podium, state your name and address, and talk to council about any issues that you feel. We try to keep that to what's on the agenda, but certainly should be council business. It is the opportunity for the citizens of the city as well as taxpayers of the city to address their council. You'll be given 5 minutes. Time will be kept, as you know. When you're addressing council, we kindly ask that you address council as a body, not as individuals. Answers are not required from City Council. If they choose to answer, they will do so under fifth order, which is their opportunity to speak to you. We ask that you keep all conversations civil and respectful, refrain from the use of any profanity or language that could incite violence or outbursts from the audience, and also please refrain from any inappropriate or disruptive behavior, such as shouting out, booing, applauding, or personal conversations that may cause interruption of this, which is a public meeting. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Attorney Gilbride. Dispense with reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A. Minutes of the Civil Service Commission meeting held October 1st, 2024, received December 4th, 2024. 3B, Single Tax Office City Funds Distributed Comparison Report for year-to-date December 6, 2024, and year-to-year comparison report for December 6, 2023 to December 6, 2024. 3C, correspondence dated December 12, 2024 from the Business Administration regarding a Scranton Fire Department budget transfer. 3D, correspondence dated December 12, 2024 from the Business Administration regarding a licensing, inspection, and permits third-party inspections budget transfer. 3E, correspondence dated December 13, 2024 from the Business Administration regarding a DPW highway supplies budget transfer. 3F, Controller's Report for the month ending November 30th, 2024. 3G, City of Scranton 2023 Financial Audit completed by Clifton Larson Allen, LLP, received from the Business Administration December 5th, 2024. 3H, minutes of the Scranton Firefighters Pension Commission meeting held November 20th, 2024. 3I, minutes of the non-uniform municipal pension board meeting held November 20th, 2024. 3J, agenda for the non-uniform municipal pension board meeting held December 18th, 2024. 3K, minutes of the Scranton Police Pension Commission meeting held November 20th, 2024. 3L, minutes of the Composite Pension Board meeting held November 20th, 2024. 3M, correspondence dated December 19th, 2024 from Business Administration regarding City of Scranton DPW budget transfer. 3N, Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority October 2024 meeting, minutes received December 19th, 2024. 3O, minutes of the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority meeting held October 17, 2024. 3P, overtime report for all departments for December 2024, as provided by City Controller, received December 20th, 2024. 3Q, correspondence dated December 23rd, 2024, from the Business Administration regarding a Scranton Fire Department budget transfer. 3R, correspondence dated December 26, 2024, from BA ARPA Director regarding departmental budget transfers. 3S, correspondence dated December 26, 2024, from the Business Administration regarding a Department of Parks and Recreation budget transfer. 3T, correspondence dated December 27, 2024, from the Business Administration regarding a Department of Public Works budget transfer. 3U, correspondence dated December 31st, 2024, from the Business Administration regarding a Department of Public Works budget transfer. 3V, correspondence received from City Business Administration on January 2nd, 2025, regarding updated payroll preparation tax collections as of December 31st, 2024. 3W, correspondence dated January 2nd, 2025, from Business Administration, ARPA Director, for American Rescue Plan Act update and funding balance.
Thank you, Kathy. Are there any comments on any of the third order items?
Yes, I have a comment on 3P. Over the last few years, I've pointed out overtime budgets when it comes to city departments and reflecting them appropriately in the budget. You know, year to year, if we're seeing similar overtime budgets, we should reflect it appropriately in the budget. And this year, it seems that most of those departments seem to be in line, other than Parks and Recreation, who was at 162%. But that's all in third order.
Thank you. Anyone else on third order items? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have a quick one. So the Greenridge Neighborhood Association is pleased to announce that they will be conducting a second and final phase of their Hometown Hero banner project. They have scheduled, our only two dates are, they will be Saturday, January 18th and Sunday, February 9th from 1 to 4 in the basement of St. Clair's Church. The cost will remain at $270 and may be paid by cash or check. You need to bring a photo along with the rank and year served, as well as whether he or she received a bronze, silver star, or purple heart. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I have a few announcements. First off, the Downtown on Ice Festival is going to be returning again this year, so I'm looking forward to that. That's something nice to be able to do within our city during the winter time. Last year, I think it was really warm that weekend, so a lot of the ice sculptures did not make it or were melting, unfortunately. But it's been pretty cold, so hopefully we'll have a good weekend for it. That's going to be taking place January 17th through January 19th. I think on the 17th, that's a Friday, it starts at 5 p.m. and there will be a lot of events in conjunction with that and things to do downtown. So make sure you stop by and see the ice sculptures and enjoy the activities. Also wanted to make note that there will be a Martin Luther King Jr. celebration dinner that takes place annually. That's going to be held at the University of Scranton. The tickets are $25 for the dinner. There's a keynote, and that's going to be on January 19th at 2:30. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
I just have one. Chris Charamelli, President, CEO, and his team with PA American Ambulance will be here next week at our caucus to discuss the EMS system in the city of Scranton. So that will be next week at caucus. Thank you.
Fourth order, citizens' participation.
First, Joan Hodowanis.
Scranton. I was very pleased to see that the 2023 audit was completed on December 4th and finally posted to the city's website yesterday. I was even more pleased to see that it did not contain any adverse opinions, and that's the first in many, many years. Excuse me. I'm wondering, you may have seen this article in the Times Tribune on December 31st. It's a New York Times article, How AI Could Reshape the U.S.'s Economic Geography. As use of technology spreads beyond big city limits, this recent study shows once struggling towns across the country are poised to benefit the most. And if you read the article, one of the 4 cities that the Times cites is Scranton, Pennsylvania. So I contacted one of the authors of the study on which this article was based, and he very kindly sent me his working paper, which I then sent to Frank, and there will be a quiz next week. You should all be getting a copy. Back on December 16th, I attended the town hall meeting on the fate of Regional Hospital and Moses Taylor. At that town hall meeting, Bridget Kozareski mentioned that there were 2 potential buyers after Woodbridge fell out, and that they would have some kind of decision within 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. Have you heard anything about the fate of those 2 hospitals?
I've not heard any new announcement yet.
Okay. Keep your ear to the ground, because that's an important issue. I saw, are any updates on DPW's union contract negotiations? Are they still ongoing?
They are ongoing, and that's the only answer I've gotten, no details.
Okay. I also saw in the backup for today's meeting, budget transfer, where DPW needed $65,000 for salt, and that's understandable. But please, 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 could you ask them to occasionally at least once salt Penn Avenue? I live downtown, and I've yet to see a salt truck, so we need it on Penn Avenue, too. Overtime, as was mentioned earlier, LIPS was at 130%, but in the 2025 budget, there was no increase from 2024 for overtime. Police was at 158%, and they only requested a 25% increase in their overtime budget for this year. Parks and Rec, as was mentioned, 162% overtime, but for 2025, they just increased their budget by 50%, and I'm kind of curious as to why their overtime was so high. And the total for the year was 128%, but the increase overall for the 2025 budget is only 16%, so the budgets are not keeping pace with the actuals, and that's something that's been going on year after year after year. Speaking of overtime, I saw that Parks and Recreation has a new director as of December 16th, but it's coming to you today for approval. Didn't we do this dance with the city many times before? I mean, aren't they supposed to ask before they appoint someone? I'm just curious.
I was notified before we went on break.
Okay.
And then we shared it, but this was an internal one, too. It's a step up. So we already know the employee.
Well, he's getting the money as of December 16th. And I also saw that Parks and Rec had a budget transfer for overtime, $10,000, because you know they went overboard, and other salary, another $10,000. So at any rate, I wish everyone a happy new year, and I'm looking forward to asking you on a weekly basis what's the status of the 2024 audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Next, Bob Bolus.
Good evening, Consul Bob Bolus, Scranton. First off, I want to start off is this was my 31st year of my annual Christmas Day dinner that was held here in the city, and it was a tremendous success. After 31 years, I never expected to see what we did. We fed over 4,000 people that showed up, delivered over 800 meals, and the highlight of the dinner was we had 75 Chinese journalists from all over the world that have been in Washington seeing the enactment for George Washington actually came to the dinner. This dinner was televised when they went back to where they were all over the world, and it was from Scranton. We're from Scranton. That's the important story here tonight. They called it an international and national celebration. And I couldn't have been prouder to see everybody that was there and know what we were accomplished. Wes, you were there, and other people that showed up gave their time on Christmas Day to take care of the community from the people in the city of Scranton. I step on a little more here that we were talking about the hospitals. I brought up at the meeting when everybody was over there, they should be funded separately to the medical college, separated, bifurcated, away from Geisinger, even though Geisinger owns it, funded separately, let the medical college buy the 2 hospitals, keep our hospitals in Scranton. We don't need some pocket-filling individuals with $1 million salaries coming into our city to buy it. Shows how stupid we are to let it happen. This is about our people and our community. There's no reason in God's name we cannot fund that separately with all the money that was sitting there. Legislators, Congress people, mayor, everybody else is there. They got all the deep pockets. Separate it, allow these doctors, you got 4 hospitals in the area, Geisinger, Lehigh, and our other 2. We have plenty of place for people to be. Let's stop being stupid and giving our city away to people, especially our medical professions. We're training these doctors, keep them here. And that's something I want to bring out. I'd like to see you guys get deeper involved in it and stop looking for somebody to buy us. We're not for sale anymore. We've already been sold out by one idiot, and we call him the president. The other part of this is going back to Biden. Let's discuss it. Conahan, he lets out, this guy destroyed the lives, him and the other ones, Powell, Miracle, all of them. They destroyed the lives of families and children. Yet he pardons them and lets them walk away. Pardons his own criminal kid and lets them walk away. It goes on down. He hands out Hillary a medal to a lying, cheating. She destroyed emails. She allowed our people in Benghazi to die because she didn't do her damn job. Yet we call her a hero. He gave medals to real non-deserving individuals. He'll go down in history as the worst president in the United States. I made a motion here a long time ago, way before all this started, to remove his name from Spruce Street, the Expressway, and 81. I'm here tonight again, seeing everything that we've seen, everything we've witnessed with Joe Biden, the worst president we had, using our pawns, us in Scranton. He didn't do a damn thing in Scranton. He's from Delaware. Let them name a street after him in Delaware. I'm asking tonight that you guys, one of you, make a motion to remove those signs from the Expressway, Spruce Street, 81, and give us our city back. Give us our honor back, our credibility back. Just putting it out there so that everybody understands. He's not from Scranton, he's from Delaware. Let them do what the hell they want with him in Delaware. Let them take him to Delaware. Stop dirtying us with the worst president in the United States. Remember, 14 veterans came back from Afghanistan, and that idiot went like this, looking at his watch, rather than stand and salute our fellow vets. He's a national disgrace, an international disgrace. Nobody respects them. We sure in hell don't. And I'm asking tonight, because I'm at least 400 Spruce Street in Scranton, under Bolus Environmental Group. It's a company I've already named a long time ago here in Scranton. We have standing here now. I'd rather see you people. I don't want to listen to Bill Gahan. I don't want to listen to the mayor, because they got their pictures with him and they want him here and they're happy about this and that. They're happy about seeing families destroyed by Conahan and those criminals for the kids for cash, and yet they honored Joe Biden for doing what he did. They should have rotted in a damn jail where the hell they belong, not sitting in his luxury house, going to his pool, doing what he needed to do. He never was punished. The families and the kids that committed suicide were punished.
Thank you, Mr.
And I'm asking tonight, one moment, please, if I may, is to do this tonight, to put a motion on, because I'm ready to move forward legally with over 30,000 signatures.
Okay, thank you.
And we will do it, but I'd rather see the city stand up to the plate than have the court order he is to remove it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Bullis, thank you for 31 years of generosity of your
I'm
meals.
sorry?
Your 31 years that you have done the free Christmas meals for all of the people
Yeah, it
in the
was
city.
Christmas Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, we're from Scranton. Why not have a hell of a celebration here? Thank you.
Thank you. Les Spindler?
Good evening, Council. Les Spindler, city resident, homeowner. I have to talk about what Bob spoke about, too. His dinner was 31 years. I think this was my 23rd year that I volunteered there. And every time I walk out of there, I feel like I really did something good. And I've made many friends over the years helping out, and I look forward to it every year. And it's a really rewarding day. Moving on. Old subject again, I bring it up again. The hole on Dorothy Street is appearing again, down by the ball fields. And I brought this up many times. Nobody's listening. It wasn't fixed the first time they did it. It's got to be dug up and filled in again and paid properly. They didn't leave any room for it to settle. Now it's all settling, and cars are bottoming out when they go over it, and now that hole is forming again. Next thing. Well, a lot of people won't be happy with what I have to say about the signs. I've lived in this city all my life, and I'm proud to have a president that I could say was born in my city. Every year, for 60-some years, my family's had a family reunion. And last year, when some people came in from out of town, they asked me why the signs off 81 are by the expressway now. And I told he was born in Scranton. He didn't stay here long, but he was born here, and that's why they put the signs up. And they thought it was great. And Bob called Joe Biden an idiot. But I think the person he supports is an idiot. He doesn't talk about him when in his first administration, he pardoned his son-in-law's father, who was convicted of 3 felonies. Nobody talks about that. And now he's talking about pardoning a bunch of people from January 6th who killed police officers. So if he does that, he's telling everybody that it's okay to kill a police officer, I'll just pardon you. And that's wrong. If he does something like that, I think he should be impeached. I mean, it's just criminal what happened on January 6th. And people supported that. It's just ridiculous. And I, for one, I'm proud to say Joe Biden was my president, and proud that he's from our city. And I hope you don't listen to Bob and just keep those signs up. Like I said, relatives of mine from the area thought it was great. And contrary to a lot of people say, a lot of other people think it's great too. Not just the ones that come here and talk about Joe Biden being a terrible person. That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Ms. Carrera, will you see that the Dorothy Street sinkhole is sent to the DPW again? Thank you.
I actually just sent that email.
That's, Jim Warren?
Hi, good evening, Council. Jim Warren of Scranton. And we recently opened a restaurant last year, Izzy's Pizzeria in Greenridge Plaza. About a week after we opened, the city started the project with the stormwater management in the parking lot, and it's definitely had an impact on our business and all the businesses in the plaza. So I wanted to find out what's going on with that project, when do we see it coming to an end, and I was curious if the city had developed some type of relief program for the businesses that it has affected. And on top of that, now the new bridge is starting on the top of Greenridge Street, and that's also starting to greatly impact the businesses down there. People are really, they're just going elsewhere, so I just wanted to get some input on that. That's all I have.
Okay. Would you kind of leave your contact with this, and so that we can find out and maybe get you an answer?
Okay, that'd be
Kathy,
great.
can you contact the administration and find out exactly when that project is expected to be completed? Mr. Warner, could you leave an email address, please? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Norma Jeffries?
Good evening, Council. Norma Jeffries, Scranton resident. And the first thing I want to say is Happy New Year to everyone. There's a lot going on in the city. I did listen to the mayor's, I guess it was called the good news of what went on with the city during 2024. So there's a lot on the plate. So, you know, it's an exciting time, I think, in 2025 as we look at the pools, the playgrounds, and different things like that for the city. I also want to welcome the newest officer to the Scranton Police Department, and I think his name was Patrolman Stevens, and we just want to welcome him to the department and look forward to seeing him around the city. And another thing that I wanted to welcome our new Parks Director. It was good to see the name in the information today, because I know that position has been open for a while, but I do look forward to meeting with him, and so that we can have a good relationship as being a part of the board of the Recreation Department at NAOG, and I'm just hoping that we can sit down and have a good discussion with him soon. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was I think Dr. Rothchild, you mentioned it, the Martin Luther King banquet dinner that's going to be held on January 19th. And it's always a wonderful occasion when they have that banquet. And just to honor those that have done things over the years to not only be recognized, but just to let people know what's going on in the city and the people that are working to try to make the city a better city than what some people seem to think it is. And like Dr. Rothchild said, it's going to be held at the University of Scranton at 2:30 in the afternoon. What I'd also like to add to that is to how to get tickets. I don't know if you've seen the flyers, but I did see them posted downstairs and at the bulletin board here on the second floor. There is a QR code on those flyers, and you could also do the QR code to get a ticket, or you can call the Scranton Area Foundation, and their telephone number is 570-347-6203. And the tickets are $25, like Dr. Rothchild had mentioned. And then also that Monday, we'll have the service at Bethel AME Church, and I think it's 7 o'clock. I did call to try to get a confirmation of that time, but I think it's 7 o'clock, but I'll try to get confirmation before next week. And if anyone's ever been to the service on that night, it's a very uplifting service, plus the MLK choir will be singing, and if anyone has heard that choir, you're in for a treat. So that's the second part of the weekend for MLK, is a service that'll be held at Bethel AME Church, which is located at 716 North Washington Avenue in Scranton, which is across from the Cooper's Restaurant. Now, if I could go back to some old business, I'm just looking for an update on the street signs. It's been 7 years since I've been back in Scranton, and I think I've been talking about the street signs for 6 of those 7 years. And it seems to go and it stops and it sputters along, and then there's some street signs go up and then they don't. And I'd just like an update as we go into 2025. I think it's time that we can put a red bow on that project and it be brought to closure. And the second thing from the that I have from 2024 is the homeless. We've had some cold, cold nights here. We've had snow, we've had cold, and I, for one, I don't know if I'd use the word guilty or maybe concerned is a better word for the homeless that are out there. And I know that they keep putting on the Facebook and all that there's been Code Blue. Well, Code Blue is wonderful. But I think they send everybody to Weston Field, and I can't help but think, is that the only place that the homeless can go? I don't know how many beds are down there that can house them. And they come in at 8 o'clock at night, and I don't know what time they have to be out in the morning. But it seems like it has to be something better than that. And Dr. Rothchild, I'm hoping that you can give me an update as to what's going on. There was a lot of complaints. I don't usually get involved on Facebook with debates, but there was people talking about Facebook about it, and I got very annoyed, and I did chime in. And I did get people that said they were willing to volunteer. Said, you know, you can complain all you want, but unless you're willing to step up to the plate and volunteer. And I did have people say that to me. So Happy New Year again, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Norma. And I want to thank you and Bob Gattens and the entire crew up at NEOG Park for the Christmas show and all the work and dedication from the entire board up there. Thank you.
Yeah. We did have a lot of issues, but it was a good year.
Great, thank you. Next, Laura Agostini.
Good evening. Laura Agostini, President of the Greenridge Neighborhood Association. I want to preface my remarks by saying whatever information I have is through conversations with Scranton Housing Board members or my own research. If my information is incorrect, I welcome the correction. This is regarding park gardens. I want to make clear that the Greenridge Neighborhood Association did not start our inquiries on our own. One of the residents of Greenridge approached one of the board members because she heard some rumors. And so we followed up on those. We thought we had gotten accurate information from the people that we contacted who were supposedly in positions to know what was going on, but potentially we received incorrect information. I did try to contact administration several times via email and a phone call, and I never received a response. I believe the response was the letter that the mayor issued on January 4th. I just want to address and ask some questions so that maybe I can get some correct information and distribute that to our neighbors. My understanding is that Park Gardens is owned by the city of Scranton, that it is an asset of the city. So what does council know about the status of Park Gardens? My understanding is it is fiscally distressed per the Housing Authority. Does the city pay any park garden bills? Does the city receive any revenue from park gardens? There's been some discussion on Facebook, social media. There were some concerns about what was going on with park gardens. Was it going to be transferred or transitioned into a different type of housing complex? It currently does not have any income restrictions. Anyone can live there. Park Gardens does not receive any federal funding, and so the only revenue stream that I am aware of is through the rents. If Park Gardens is transitioned to something else, that would potentially affect the character of Greenridge. And I use that word transition because that was brought up by a woman, Kara Mullen, who is a former employee of the United Neighborhood Center and a current employee of the Community Housing Partnership. The Community Housing Partners is a company that specializes in low-income housing. They take over complexes and manage them, potentially to receive federal funding, and that's how they make their money, is that they raise the rents, they have Section 8 or low-income people come in who can afford to pay a certain amount, and then they receive the balance from grants, other funding, or something along those lines. So what we're looking for is some transparency so that we can find out exactly what is happening. Now, we're aware that there's a meeting on January 13th at St. Clair's in the basement for anyone who's interested, and most especially the tenants of Park Gardens. Those tenants fit very well into the character of Green Ridge. If you drive down Morel, you'll see lovely decorations for Christmas, for the spring, for all of that. It's really an asset to the area, and we would like it to stay that way. Some of our concerns are not only the character, but also safety. One of the things that's come to my attention is that several of the public housing complexes in Scranton have off-duty police officers patrolling, and I believe those are paid by federal funds. We don't really want that to be happening at Park Gardens. As an aside, I note that you got minutes from a lot of different authorities today, but Scranton Housing Authority is not on it. We have not been able to obtain minutes from the Scranton Housing Authority meetings over the past several months. And I understand that didn't expect to have the December minutes, but I had been looking for the prior months so that I could see what was discussed and how things were going. And they're not available, as far as I'm aware. It was intimated to me that only people who need to know get those minutes. Well, that's not accurate. Those minutes are for public consumption. You don't have my need to know is that I'm a resident of the city of Scranton. That's pretty much all that I have. I appreciate the shout out for our banner sale. We are looking forward to selling more banners. The first part was very successful, and I'm hoping that I can get some answers from either council or administration or the Scranton Housing Authority with regards to Park Gardens and the future of Park Gardens. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all for our sign-in sheet. Anyone else wish to address council?
Tom Coyne, Manuka. First off, what's with the 6-month recycling calendar? Last time we were told Rubicon, it was done for Rubicon's possible change-up. But Rubicon's gone, things are set. Someone is getting paid double for 2 print runs, and we're paying double for mailing. Second, if we need to know what Rubicon is getting paid for its software, can't council or a council member of Voldenberg pick up the phone and call them directly? It's finance, and the administration ignores you anyway. There have been a lot of public impacting news stories over the silence of the public month break. Nothing may have been on council's agenda, but that does not mean the public did not have issues. Public participation happens not because council always desires the public to have an opportunity to address them. It is a legal complication that council has to follow. During that time, we had Biden, the Biden pardon, and Cash for Kids pop back up. We had a mayor who decided that it was a good time to come out and defend this by saying he did so much good work that we should ignore this mistake, though Biden and his administration never addressed this. It's not like Biden giving the mayor a position taints an opinion in any way. Then she goes on to blame the locals who put her into office for wanting the Biden street removed because they have been going after this for a while. They went after it because former council president, now county commissioner, chose to ignore and not represent the people, but to force his own interests. Without the drama of the Biden pardon, the public voiced in council a 100% opposition to the Spruce Street change. But Bill Gahan said there was an overwhelming support for the people who did not appear and never voiced an opinion, and it was voted in by council. All the pardon did was make a bad thing worse. There was a comment that the name change should be discussed with the people who were harmed by the Cash for Kids, but the sign represents the entire community who should decide. Does this pardon taint the issue, and should Biden Street not be a center city sales tactic, but move to where it belongs, an honorary street on the road of his birthplace? Moving on. October 15, 2024, I reported a prospective 80% rejection rate of the recycling at $120 an hour. Again, I backed off the normal $47 cost from the totals and only report the excess charges. On October 15th, we had wasted $15,941 by doing nothing. It's time for an update. Adding 12 weeks to the running total at a rate of $1,596 a week, the new money trash toss total is $35,090 tossed into the trash. Let's put $35,000 in context. I put forth in the last session that none of the $10,000 was spent for feeding the homeless fund. The mayor did a whole big show of putting forth the $10,000 for the Christmas holiday. Great, $10,000 for feeding the homeless and shelter. Sort of like a Bob Bolus free Christmas dinner for anyone who needs to eat or a place to socialize during the holidays, except it's not. The $10,000 is going to a group of charities to feed and care for no one. It is a fund to buy a coordinator because it seems the charities lack a phone, internet, or the ability to communicate without this position. So for Christmas, the mayor gifted $10,000 to no one in need. Like Ebenezer Scrooge for Christmas, she and the homeless task force in Scranton wished that they would die already and decrease the surplus homeless population. Let's not forget the shelter is open only during the nights. I guess during the day they can go out and sunbathe. When the shelter is open, because it was closed down for a bit because of lack of staffing. Last, as was in the paper, I filed an appeal, both as an individual and a press. The ruling as it stands says that a public or former public employee's name said out loud may cause embarrassment, so you can't do that. By that, I guess we can't talk about former Mayor Cartwright because it might embarrass him. The Times likes to repeat the comment of the city solicitor, rifled through, a pointed term that paints me in doing a nefarious action. Rifled means to search an area or container example thoroughly, especially using the hands with the intent to steal or remove something. I found the documents, spent 6 hours protecting them, and eventually recovering them and securing them for the city. I made sure that everyone was aware of the issue. Saying someone wanting to secure, protect, and return the files was trying to steal them is outrageous. My goal has always been for a simple statement from the city and that it notified everyone affected that their confidential information had been exposed. That's it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Mr. Schuster, are you going to bring up the Rubicon, the cost of the software and stuff in fifth order?
That was some of the questions I had over the last couple of weeks. It did come back under Mr. McAndrew. I was probably going to touch on it a little bit, but I'm sure he's going to as well.
Very well, thank you. Anyone else? You can, you just come up, tell your name and your address.
Sure. Well, I don't think that anybody will remember me, but my name is Victor Alparigi, 1010 North Washington Avenue, and if any of you have never been in the building, it's remarkably nicely remodeled. You'll have to forgive me because I've had open heart surgery, and it's pretty cold out there. And I don't know how anybody could possibly survive even one night. There's always advantages and disadvantages of spending your entire life in Scranton versus having been from here and lived in other places. So I fall into the latter category, having lived in other portions of Pennsylvania outside of the city, as well as in other states. I've never been part of a community where the mayor, as the chief executive officer, was not only invited but required to come to these types of meetings. That was certainly the case in Clark's Green when I was on Clark's Green Borough Council. That was certainly the case in Summit, New Jersey. That was certainly the case in Chatham, New Jersey. This may be the historic practice, but from a practical point of view, I don't see its value. Because even if all of you, ladies and gentlemen, have the best aspirations, which is an assumption, okay, the person who wields the most power either doesn't get invited or doesn't want to come to the meetings. I don't see that as, I don't see where the rationale is for that. I'm going to make one comment regarding Mr. Biden. Does that mean that just because I was born in a given community, that gives me some sacred power, some sacred ability? Is being born in a given place, even though I left as a child, that meaningful relative to the rest of a person's life? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Mike Mancini, Scranton. Happy New Year to everybody. January 11th, 2024 is a day that we will not forget. We will not forget Detective Kyle Gilmartin either. Continued prayers to him, his family, his friends, the Scranton Police Department, and our first responders. God bless each of you. Welcome to 2025. In 2024, this council managed to be here for 43 out of 52 weeks, 83%. When you add in the crickets, it's a failing grade. We expect and deserve answers to each of our questions. We hold you to a higher standard. You are in elected positions and in a chair of trust. I ask that each of you fulfill your promises and do what's right for the good people of Scranton. Each of you are parents. 3 of you work with children, 4th being a doctor, and the 5th putting smiles on children's faces with amazing holiday displays. Children, on the question. The street formerly known as Spruce. Questions have been brought to the forefront after a disgraced judge had his record commuted, which involved over 2,500 children. This has opened up old wounds. In the eyes of many, it wasn't a good decision. They also feel that the street needs to be returned to its former name. The council could restore this name with a vote this evening or send the question to referendum. Let the people of Scranton vote on May 20th. $500,000, the pave cut contract. On the question, do you believe that it's a waste of money that a third party from Luzerne County inspects our paving cuts? Does this include manhole covers? Do each of you think that the logical thing to do is to have our own eyes on these projects? A simple fix would be to have communication with the utilities and increase fine from $100 a day to $1,000 a day. Outsourcing everything possible is the answer, I guess. This will become a huge waste of money, in my opinion. Lawsuits. Flynn versus the city of Scranton. On the question. This is one of many ongoing lawsuits involving the mayor and her expansion team. Have any of you investigated the budget to see if there is money set aside for these costly mistakes? The answer is 0. How can you balance a budget with looming expenses that continue, or pass a budget without an audit that was expected in September? No increase. That is very difficult to believe. Are these bills not being paid much like Lackawanna County did? The 33% increase? Are the pensions being shorted? On the question, Naog Park, $87,000, from what I understand, was spent to hang these lights up. And we had volunteers to do it for free, more than capable. And they actually had to go back out and fix the mistake from this company from Allentown, who didn't want any part of it. Just put the lights up, and basically that was it. Those monies were never actually approved before council. What do each one of you think about that? And finally, GPS, good people of Scranton, on the question. This city certainly deserves so much better. We have an expansion team making day-to-day decisions that prevent us from moving forward. 51 weeks remain. While she continues to use her GPS from one photo op to another, the good people will use their GPS in Gong Page soon. Change is coming. Good evening, Council.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll try to make it short and sweet. Everybody looks really tired. So I contemplated whether I was even
Ma'am,
going to get
just
up.
state your
Oh,
name.
Lynn Lebrowski,
Thank you.
sorry,
That's
homeowner,
fine.
business owner, Scranton resident, and taxpayer. So I contemplated if I was even going to say anything tonight because of everything going on with this whole sign. I think the problem in this city is that people need to put politics to the side and let the people decide. If the people never decided if the sign should have been changed to begin with, then what would be wrong with letting the people decide if it should be changed back to what it was always originally? I don't think that's a bad idea. A friend of mine I spoke with a couple days ago said it'd be interesting if I would read the home charter for Scranton. So I went to that, and it's kind of funny because it starts out with we the people of the city of Scranton, in adopting this home rule charter, recognize the government is competent only when those who compose it work as trustees of the people. As a servant of the people, good government must be responsive to their basic human needs. Therefore, to secure these goals, this charter is ordained and established. So if our preamble matches up with the preamble of our United States Constitution, which is we the people, then I don't understand how things can be dictated or pushed through council or executive, mayoral decisions when we the people should have a say in whether or not those things take place. So if you would consider maybe putting it on the ballot for May, I think that would be a good idea. And I'm just seeing a lot of stuff going on in the city on social media with our commissioners, with our local government, and I just think that we all have common denominators. Like, we're all here, we want safety, we want quality of life, we want fairness, we want low taxes, we want our potholes filled in, and I could go on down the list. We want a good park at Naog, things to do in downtown Scranton, we want to light things up. We all have the same common denominators, so I don't understand why we're all fighting like children on a playground and people can't just come together. Because in the end, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, when you all have the same values. And I think the people in Scranton, for the most part, do have the same values. So, I mean, I would just ask that when big decisions are made, like naming streets after, it doesn't matter if you like Biden, if you don't like Biden, it just shouldn't matter, because you can disagree on religion, you can disagree on politics, but you could still get along. And in government, I mean, you're gonna have people on both sides. You're not always going to agree, but you have to compromise, you have to come together. So I'm requesting kindly that you would maybe consider putting it on the ballot for May, or having a meeting about it and letting we the people decide. That's all.
Thank
Happy New Year to everyone. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
did you want to say something?
Oh, no, I said thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're welcome, of course. All right, thank you very much.
Have a good night. Anyone else?
Hello, Council. Rick Little, Scranton. Things are changing fast, but there has to be, I mean, just growing up, just watching how the whole world has changed into a surveillance state, and personally, you know, studying media, how the media steers everything. There has to be more accountability. I mean, I went to the Scranton Housing Authority, two of your members attended there, and I got the transcript from the month before, and it's like a lot of transcripts I used to get in the Kings County Family Court. They aren't transcripts, they're just paraphrased, and there's a power thing in the person that writes the transcript. And I know it's going on at the Lackawanna Courthouse too, but people don't know what to support and think and vote for. And it mainly comes from ABC TV, you know, the WNEP, the TV, and the newspaper. And I read the newspaper today, and I'd just like to make the point that, you know, all the national stuff in the newspaper is from the AP and New York Times, which have been proven to be not reliable at all in anything. USA Today, the New Yorker. That's why, you know, the president-elect always has said fake news, because it is fake news. And I was glad to see that there was Electric City videotape of the housing meeting. I think that there should be videotape in the courts. You know, but when you get to the courts, oh, it's a special thing. You have to go through the Judiciary Committee and all this, and there's no record. You know, you challenge a transcript, and they go, oh, well, these people are professionals. Yeah, but come on. I mean, lives are being destroyed by these courts, and it's no coincidence that all these people that are around Scranton, you know, Joe Biden's hometown, are elevated up in the system. You know, Dr. Rachel Levine. I mean, she takes her mother out of the nursing home, and all these people die in the nursing home. And I just started this book. This is a great book, the Pfizer papers, because it's going to come out that this was a bioweapon. And I remember just, you know, watching on WNEP TV every day, you know, wash your hands, sing happy birthday twice, and a lot of people took this jab, and it's a killer. But even before that, I remember when you know, what's his name? He got a $15 million judgment against him from the Trump administration. But this guy, who's an ABC reporter, I remember when he was in the cabinet of Bill Clinton back in 1992. There's a connection between the media, the government, and especially the judiciary. And the people that come up from Scranton, like Jason Kulovich, the guy who's head of Area Agency on Aging. Oh, he's head of the state now. And I just read in the paper, I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, the head of the attorney generals or the district attorneys coming from Scranton, you know. And Scranton was used as a to sell this idea And we got to get rid of that sign. That sign is, all this bureaucracy, I go there, and, you have to hire a DPW lawyer and a, transportation lawyer. I mean, enough with the lawyers. We need cameras in the courts. We need, especially the magistrate courts, so that there's justice.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. King, do you have any motions or comments?
No, I just would like to get more information concerning the Park Gardens situation. So if we could possibly ask the administration, I understand that the mayor put out a memo, but I'm wondering, I don't know that Park Gardens was always considered, had like age restrictions. And part of what that memo indicated that it does have age descriptions, and I don't believe that it really does. So is there like a loophole in there? I'd really like some clarification on that if we could. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Schuster, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I'll follow up with what Mr. King said. I think the questions that came in from the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association tonight, if we could send all of those questions over. Is Park Gardens owned by the city? Is it a, I can't read my own writing here, but.
I have the.
I wrote all of the questions down.
Let the council know, do we pay the bills? Is it transitioning to Section 8? No income restrictions currently, and is there any federal funding presently?
Yeah, is it going to be transitioned with any kind of restrictions that the community housing partners have? Is there any association with them at this point in time? But if we can get those questions over to the administration to get answers for those, that it would be great. Thank you. I do have some responses from our last meeting. I did ask about some people in the Weston Field area had asked me about the skate park. They had gone to some of the early stages of planning for that, and they wanted to know when the next meeting was. The answer that I did get back was that at this point in time there is no meeting, so we're going to be, I'll wait for that to get that meeting out for those individuals over at Weston Field. Questions have been asked repeatedly about the Sorrenti Center, and one of the things when we discussed, when it was first discussed, the administration wanted to revamp the Sorrenti Center, what it was going to be used for, things like that. It was told to council early on that we could use it as a source of revenue, and that source of revenue would have been teaching classes, having trainings, things like that. There is the system over there that they have for police training. We were going to use that to train outside agencies or outside law enforcement agencies, and we would be charging a fee to possibly get some revenue. The answer I got back on if we've had any classes or trainings recently going on at the Sorrenti Center where outside agencies or groups of law enforcement of any type have been there and charged a fee, the answer I got was that the Scranton Police Department routinely conducts joint training with other law enforcement partners at the Sorrenti Center, but we're not incurring costs or charging fees. So I think that should answer whether revenue is coming in from the Sorrenti Center. We're not charging for trainings or anything that's going on at the Sorrenti Center. So I do not believe there's revenue coming in that was originally stated when money was first going to be allocated for that building. I had some questions about the NAOG light show early on. So if we could send these over, I know Mr. Voldenberg has sent them over several times, and I spoke with the city controller about some of the other answers. But when it comes to the lighting that was done this Christmas season, can we get the total price of the contract? I know when I spoke to the city controller, it was $87,000, but was other work completed that was not part of that contract? And then I was told that it was coming out of the capital budget for Parks and Rec. Was it in fact coming out of capital budget for Parks and Rec, and what year was that included in the capital budget? And what was the process that the administration used to put this out to bid, accept the bid, and complete the work, and then pay off this contract without council approval or without bringing it past council? Next, Mr. Coyne brought up tonight recycling. I had asked when the fees went up for recycling if a cost-benefit analysis was going to be done. They told me that a cost-benefit analysis was ongoing and they would get back to us, so I think it's about time for an update, as was stated in public comment. So can we get an update on recycling, where we're at with the cost-benefit and where we're going with that? Also, with the Greenridge questions about Park Gardens, is it possible that we could send over some correspondence to the Scranton Housing Authority and get the meeting minutes from the last several months? I'd say September, October, November, December. My last thing, in the December meeting for the fire department's pension board, there was a vote that was taken that went 2-2, and the vote failed because there was not an odd number of individuals on that board. And one of the seats that is vacant is the retired fire officer. I'd like to make a motion tonight that we send official correspondence from City Council to the administration to ask, when are we going to seat this individual? Because when votes come down that go 2-2 and fail, the retired fire department members are not being represented on that board. So I'd like to make the motion, if I have a second, to send official correspondence.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So on the question? No? So we vote on it? Do you want to roll call vote? Or
Yeah, roll call vote.
roll call vote, please?
On the question, I'm sorry I threw that out to everybody at the last minute, but we did discuss it in caucus, and I felt we should get some official correspondence over to them.
Also on the question, this is over a year. And, you know, the process has been followed by the union members. We've received correspondence, but it just dies when this person is to be seated, even though they're approved. So I don't know what the motivation is behind it. It doesn't sound good, especially going on this long. So we really do have to send a message and get clarification as to what's going on.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, by a vote of 5-0, it passes.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I have a few. The first thing that I just wanted to mention, I had a couple responses with regards to the concerns of Park Gardens. So it is owned and managed by the Scranton Housing Authority. They do not get city funding. And then on the subject of the minutes, I know there's a number of new members on the Housing Authority. I think they're working to correct some of the previous processes and in making those available as they should be. So that's all that I have for now on that. And then for the unsheltered task force, they did have a meeting last month, and there's going to be another one towards the end of this month. And so I do have some updates from that I could provide the public with. So first off, for the cold weather that we're experiencing, and you've been hearing about the Code Blues, Code Blue shelter that we've been having. We're having partnerships with Keystone Mission, the St. Francis Soup Kitchen, and the city to provide shelter and food at Weston Field. There are other shelters that are available too, but they're often full, and so we have the Code Blue because people who might not be able to get into those other shelters then have somewhere else to go instead of suffering through the cold. And city's adding task force members to the Code Blue email distribution list for better communication. So then with regards to shelter capacity, I believe Ms. Jeffries might have mentioned that St. Anthony's did have some staffing issues, so they had to be closed a couple of evenings and open later than they were supposed to on others, but they're working to make sure that they have that staffing so that it remains open and on schedule. And then St. Francis, CIC, Keystone, and Scranton School District are all seeing an increase in individuals who are unsheltered, unfortunately. And UNC housing counselors are facing larger caseloads in terms of capacity. Walsh Manor is full, St. Joseph's is full, the Catherine McCauley Center is full, and then Lackawanna County has 5 families staying in hotels, and the Valley Youth House is also full. And then they have that in looking ahead. They're exploring what a housing trust fund could look like in Scranton and other ways to incentivize solutions with housing affordability. And Scranton Police continue to monitor daily areas where unsheltered people may be. And there's going to be the point in time count. That's something that takes place annually and then it's going to be on January 29th. And for that, they take account of all those who are unsheltered. So they go outdoors to those places where they might be and count the amount of people who are without shelter for that point in time. And those are the updates that I have from the task force. And then just wanted to touch briefly too on the NAOG lights. I certainly enjoyed them as I do every year and with my family, and my daughter, as she gets older, she only gets more and more excited about them, and she was able to help me this year in giving out candy canes and volunteering at it. So that's something I really enjoyed doing, but I do know that we've been receiving complaints too of times that the lights have been out. I mean, I would still say overall it is a really successful thing that the city does, and I'm happy that we do it. Even my mom, who's from out of the area, we had paid over, I don't know, maybe $35 to do another light show, and she said the one that we had was just as good as that one, and it's by donation. So, but I know that there were some issues with the company hired, and I do appreciate Councilman Schuster's questions about it, and I certainly want those answers too, to find out what had happened, why it didn't come through council, and I know that Councilman Smurl has some more answers too on why that company was used, the work that they did, but it was a one-time contract, so this should go back to Parks and Rec for next year. And that's everything that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rothchild. Mr. McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Yeah, okay, I have a couple. So Rubicon, I requested more than 3 or 4 times before we went on recess. What's it going to cost to retain them? And because they said they needed to retain the software. So we finally get a price. So my question actually was, Mr. McAndrew also asked the question related to Rubicon, what does it cost to retain the software? Mr. McAndrew indicated the question was asked multiple times, and it was. All right, so the response I got was, upon completion of the renewal negotiations by the IT director, our investment for software only in 2025 will be $31,281. And they said this is a reduction of $13,000 and some change from the original proposed cost that they proposed the city of $44,350. So, first of all, so this says a renewal. So if this was a renewal, why did it not come before us? All right, if it was a contract that council voted on, and I voted no on it, to be, to make that known, because, and their performance was horrific the 3 years that they were here. They tried to roll it out 2 to 3 times, and garbage sat. They only provided data that we could have got from the landfill for free. So with that said, this did not come before us. So is this renewal, or is it already agreed upon, or by both parties? Was it run through the IT budget that we're not aware of? Because this is like the lighting contract at NAOG didn't come before us. Hidden in some other capital budget. This contract is to be renewed to retain software, it's a contract that was voted on first here. So I have concerns as how this is done, has it been done? If we can please get a follow-up with regards to Rubicon. Okay? And then, mentioned earlier, Mrs. Augustine had some questions regarding park gardens. And just for clarification's sake, I know you wanted to send them questions over, and between you two gentlemen, you asked Kathy to do it, but she did not mention the word Section 8 during her conversation here. So just so we know that and make sure, you know, it might be something else going on, a transition, but she didn't refer to it as Section 8. Okay? Just to be fair. And then also, I received some complaints about dogs. I'm trying to open this up here. You know, there's been a feral cat problem. We're all aware of that, and it's just, the city struggles with it. But then, you know, early in the year, there was concerns about stray dogs, and they're a problem. So I got a couple calls over our recess, where we actually work during recess. I'll talk about that. But the concern was that there's stray dogs being found, and it's cold. This weather is, and there's nowhere to take them anymore. I know we allowed, what was it? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, the firehouse is to be utilized by the city with regards, but they don't house the animals there. And then Griffin Pond no longer will take, well, they don't kill anymore, which is great, but they won't take any dogs that appear to be aggressive. So, but this young lady who spoke to me about it said she's been in contact with the city, waiting for responses that were promised to her as a strategy or a plan moving forward to deal with these dogs. And it's a problem. It's just, so with that said, may we reach out to administration, say, you know, supposedly, you know, we were told that there's a plan being developed for these dogs because of Griffin Pond and the city themselves not having anywhere to house these dogs until, you know, they find owners or whatever. But please enlighten us with the plan that was spoken to this lady if there's something in process. Okay? And then last, you know, guess what? We recess twice a year, right? And believe it or not, I mean, we appreciate all your concerns that you bring to us every week, but there's more than you guys out there. There's 70,000 residents. And I don't know about the rest of us, and I'm sure it's the case, during recess, we get calls, we get texts, we get emails with concerns from, you know, close to the other 70, not all 70 other thousand residents, but they matter just as much as you guys, and we do respond. So we're busier than you think you are, than you think we are during our break. You know, the dog issue should be another one, but there was other ones I don't bring up when I come back to council. I just forward them to our great council department, Frank and the ladies. So let it be known that, you know, we actually do work during recess. And I think that is all I have. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. I just have a few items. The summary of our audit will be sent to the newspaper to be published, and it will be placed in third order for next week's meeting. A few other things. The Tuesday through Saturday code enforcement inspector has completed their training and will be out from Tuesday till Saturday now. So hopefully we can start to contain all the weekend warriors we have, mostly putting roofs on throughout our city with no permits. Our new pave cut process has started the first of the year, and so I'm hopeful this will clean up a lot of the problems that we have with potholes not being properly repaired. There's one more thing was the bazooka factory that was closed and they had moved to music. From what we were told, what I was told was the building is not structurally sound. So I don't know exactly what it was, but they actually fenced around it. So if someone puts a fence around a building, I would assume that it is not structurally sound also. So, and that was a rapid move, so unfortunately, they did not stay in the city of Scranton, but they did move to music. And I believe that is it for now. Thank you.
5B, for introduction of resolution, appointment of Stephen Heinz to the position of Parks and Recreation Director effective December 16th, 2024.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C, for introduction of resolution, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to apply and accept a FEMA fiscal year 2024 assistance to firefighters grant.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D, for introduction of resolution, appointment of Sherry Frabel to the Board of Directors of the Lackawanna County Land Bank to fill the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2025.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5E, for introduction of resolution, ratifying and authorizing procurement of a bucket truck from Structural Metal Fabricators Incorporated and execution of a lease purchase agreement with Leasing 2 Incorporated for said truck.
At this time, entertain a motion that item 5E be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, no business at this time. Seventh order, 7A, no business at this time. Eighth order, 8A, no business at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you for keeping it civil. It was a really good meeting. If there's no further, I'm sorry. We're okay? Yeah. So if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.